In case you haven't heard, the Mockingbird single to double stroller is starting to show signs of a potentially quite serious structural defect, where in several cases at this point, the chassis has split under the weight of two children while in use. We made a video nearly 2 years ago in which, among other worries, we specifically expressed concerns over what I believe to be the cause of these problems, but were not made aware until about 6 weeks ago, thanks to one of our patrons, that many cases of the Mockingbird actually breaking in this highly dangerous manner had now occurred. Since that time, the situation has now ballooned to the point where Consumers Report has publicly called for a product recall, the Consumer Product Safety Commission has launched an investigation, and Mockingbird themselves have publicly responded with a statement that they believe these are rare, isolated instances and they will not be halting sales. Looking at pictures of the brakes, it's my strongly held opinion, based on repairing strollers for around a decade, that the affected area is a design problem, not a use problem, where the connection point between the elongated front frame and the central joint lacks sufficient reinforcement for handling a second seat, because the holes needed to run rivets into the joint components weaken the integrity of the bars, which are flat on the underside as opposed to curved like the top side, which reduces structural strength, and which then have trouble withstanding the downward weighted jolts of the second seat, while moving over anything less than completely flat terrain. Have you ever seen someone stomping on a tree branch propped against a log to break it for firewood? It's a lot easier to break that branch if it's flat and notched at one point on the underside, isn't it? This is what's happening to the Mockingbird at the point of the riveted holes, from the weight of the seat anytime the stroller hits bumps. In order to fix this, they will likely need to rebuild the connection in order to have the bar socketed into the central joint component rather than just encircling it. As I said, we put out a video back in February of 2021 warning people about this model, as we could see just from pictures, the Mockingbird not actually being available for purchase where we live, that there were a variety of potential longevity issues with its design, and where we specifically said that, shameless self-quote, very little seems to have changed with the model in the move from a single version to a double version, other than a lengthening of the front frame, while to properly accommodate for the weight of a second child requires a lot more than this. It means thicker bars and mechanisms overall, bigger wheels, and for the Mockingbird in particular, I would say a rethinking of the model's pretty minimalistically insulated riveting, which will undoubtedly loosen over time as a result of weight stress. We got a bit of flack for that video, being called conceited for judging the model without actually being able to look at it in person. But the fact of the matter is that if this was a visibly potential problem to us just from pictures, then it really also should have been apparent to the designers and engineers at Mockingbird as well. And as a side note here, there's also a second widely reoccurring problem with this model, by the way, in that the rear frame crossbar may be insufficiently welded for handling steering pressure and has in several cases also snapped. As things stand, it's now very important, in my opinion, that word is further spread on this issue, both because Mockingbird refuses to quit selling the model while they look into the problem, and also because an actual product recall is far from the given outcome for this situation. My guess is that Mockingbird won't do this unless they're forced to, as the costs might be quite extreme. I don't know how this situation will resolve itself in the end, but for right now, I would say that, in my opinion, parents should at least be warned against purchasing the Mockingbird until it is resolved. In particular, the single to double model, though frankly, I'm personally not sold on the single version either. And those who already own a Mockingbird should also keep an eye on the situation in order to get their strollers updated or replaced as soon as possible. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, please subscribe, or even hit the donate button if you're so inclined, as this sort of support helps us to continue making videos in the future. If you'd like to know more about this situation, we've linked a variety of sources in the description, including the Consumers Report article on this case, the Reddit feed sent to us by a patron, and our original video. In addition, if you are currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page, which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description as well. Thank you.